Have you ever really stopped to wonder why you do it? Why you lace up those shoes day after day, even when, the forecast looks grim, or maybe every muscle is just screaming from yesterday's run?
Uh-huh.
What is that? That pull, that invisible thing that gets you out the door when, frankly, the couch looks way more appealing.
It's such a great question. And it sounds simple, right? But wow, does it open up a huge world?
It really does. It gets to the heart of being a runner, but maybe even something deeper about being human.
Absolutely. And the answers, well, they're as complex and different as every single runner out there. Welcome, everyone, to the Runner's Paradox podcast.
This is the show where we're really trying to bring Ying's fantastic book, The Runner's Paradox, to life. We go beyond just the pages.
Exactly. We dig into the latest research, we share real stories, and we even touch on some timeless philosophical ideas, all to get a better handle on this incredible, sometimes baffling, but always transformative activity.
Yeah, it's not just a book club read-along. We're seeing how these core ideas from the book stack up against new science, psychology, even ancient wisdom. Today, we're unpacking Chapter 2. It's a really foundational chapter in The Runner's Paradox, and it tackles that big question head-on. Why do we run?
Right. And Ying puts it so well, reflecting that, our bodies were in many ways born to run, but motivations transform without any conscious choice on our part. It's a fascinating thought.
That's the paradox we're exploring today, isn't it? That tension between, well, our bodies being built for this and how we consciously or maybe unconsciously develop that desire to actually do it.
Precisely. We're going to explore that whole landscape. We'll look at the core psychological drivers, those invisible forces pulling us forward.
We'll also get into how external things, sometimes really subtly, can change our relationship with running.
Yeah, and the tricky nature of passion itself, how it can be both good and, well, not so good. And even how our surroundings, the places we run, and those deeper philosophical questions shape why we keep going.
It's going to be a really rich exploration. And just a quick reminder for everyone listening, you can always find more info about The Runner's Paradox, the book, and this whole series over at therunnersparadox.com. That's where you can grab the ebook too.
Okay, so where do we start unraveling these invisible threads?
Well, a great place to start, and something the book really grounds itself in, is self-determination theory, or SDT.
Ah, yes, SDT, developed by Dissy and Ryan. It's this really powerful psychological framework suggesting we all have these three basic psychological needs, innate needs.
Which are?
Autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And these aren't just, academic buzzwords. As Yang really emphasizes in the book, these are like the invisible threads that genuinely pull runners forward. They shape how we feel about running, whether we stick with it.
So if these needs are met, our motivation is strong.
Hmm.
And if not, it fades.
That's the core idea. When they're satisfied, we flourish. When they're thwarted, well, enthusiasm tends to dry up pretty quickly.
Okay, let's take that first one then. Autonomy. The freedom to choose. I think a lot of people connect with this, especially when they first start running.
Oh, absolutely. There's often this incredible feeling of liberation, isn't there? Just you and the open road or the trail. It feels like you're making a statement just by moving.
Yeah, pure freedom.
Yeah.
No one telling you what to do, how fast to go, just your own desire pushing you. That initial buzz is powerful.
It really is. But here's the paradox Jung points out. That pure, simple freedom, it can start to erode over time, maybe subtly at first.
How so?
Well, think about it. Maybe you get serious, get a rigid training plan, or you start comparing yourself to others on social media, or maybe there are external expectations from a coach or friends, or even just this pressure you put on yourself.
Right. Suddenly, it's not just about the joy anymore. It feels like an obligation.
Exactly. It shifts from, I want to run, to I have to run. And that feeling, that loss of autonomy, can be a real killer for long-term motivation. It's a subtle shift, but a critical one.
And the research really backs this up, doesn't it? How vital that sense of choice is.
It does. There's a really interesting study in 2024 by Lemoyne looking at autonomy supportive coaching.
What did they find?
They found that athletes who felt they had real input, real choice in their training, they got to self-direct their practice to some extent. Well, they kept their motivation and enjoyment and actually kept participating for years longer than athletes under really rigid, controlling instruction.
Wow. So it's not just about feeling good in the moment. It actually breeds resilience.
Precisely. It's the difference between being pulled by your own desire and feeling pushed by external forces. That internal pull is just so much more sustainable.
It makes you wonder how this connects to bigger ideas like
Yeah.
philosophy. Does
Right.
this idea of autonomy in running echo anything there?
Oh, definitely. Think about existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre. He famously said we are condemned to be free.
Condemned. That sounds negative.
Well, not necessarily. He meant we always have the responsibility of choice. We have to create our own meaning. So every step a runner takes, that's a choice, an affirmation of that freedom. You're authoring your own run, your own experience.
Huh. And Kant, too, right? He talked about autonomy.
Yes, for Kant, autonomy was the very basis of human dignity. Acting autonomously, based on your own reasoned choices, is what gives us moral worth. So choosing to run, choosing your path, it's an expression of self-governance. It's dignity in motion, you could say.
So, practically speaking, how do we protect this autonomy in our running?
It's about making conscious choices that really feel like yours. Pick routes you genuinely enjoy. Does a quiet trail recharge you? Or does a busy city path energize you? Go with that.
And maybe be flexible with training plans.
Absolutely crucial. Listen to your body. If you're exhausted and the plan says intervals, maybe a recovery jog is the eponymous choice. Adapting builds trust with yourself and keeps the joy alive. It's about remembering you are in charge.
All right? You're the one running the show, ultimately. Okay, so that's autonomy. What about the second thread? Competence.
Competence. The runner's paradox describes this so well. It's that quiet confidence earned through thousands of steps.
Quiet confidence. I like that. It's not flashy.
Exactly. It's not about bragging rights or podium finishes or even necessarily hitting a specific PB every time. It's deeper than that. It's internal.
So it's more about the feeling during the run, the process itself.
Precisely. It's noticing your stride feels smoother, or that hill doesn't wind you quite as much, or you managed your pacing better this time. It's savoring those small incremental improvements in your actual skill, your craft.
Less focus on the outcome, more on the journey of getting better.
Yes, and research totally supports this. A 2024 study by Chen and colleagues found that runners' sense of competence was much more strongly linked to mastering the process, those small improvements, than it was to race results or comparing themselves to others.
That's really significant. So focusing on the craft, not just the race day.
It is. Because that internal validation, that sense of, I'm getting better at this, is something you can access far more often than a race medal. It fuels intrinsic motivation much more reliably.
Philosophically, does this link to anything, this focus on mastery and process?
It really resonates with Aristotle's idea of eudaimonia.
Which means?
It's often translated as happiness, but it's more like human flourishing,
right.
Living a life of excellence, pursuing growth for its own sake because that's intrinsically satisfying. It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
And running can be a path to that.
I think so. As the book suggests, true motivation isn't just about winning, it's about becoming. Becoming a more capable runner, sure, but also maybe more resilient, more self-aware through that consistent effort. It's growth through doing.
So practical tips for building this sense of competence. How do we focus on the process?
Focus on things you can control and improve internally. Maybe add some form drills to your routine. Practice specific pacing strategies during runs. And celebrate the micro wins.
Micro wins.
Yeah.
Like what?
And nailing that interval workout you were dreading. Or holding good posture all the way up a tough hill. Or just feeling really smooth and efficient for a mile. Acknowledge those moments. They build that quiet confidence.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Autonomy, competence. What's the third leg of this SDT stool?
Relatedness, that fundamental human need to connect, to belong, to feel part of something.
But running often feels so solitary. How does relatedness fit in?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Even if you mostly run alone, as Ng points out in the book, there's often this subtle sense of connection. You see another runner, you give that little nod. There's an unspoken understanding. You feel part of this huge global tribe.
Right. You share this experience even if you don't know each other.
Exactly. And that feeling of belonging, whether it's through a formal club, an online group, or just that shared identity, is incredibly powerful for sustaining motivation.
Is there research on this community aspect?
Oh, yes. Martinez and Zhao, in a 2025 study, found compelling evidence. Runners who felt part of a supportive network were way more resilient when their motivation dipped.
So community acts like a buffer.
It really does, especially during tough training periods when you might feel burnt out or overwhelmed. Those social bonds, that sense of we're in this together, can literally keep you going when your individual motivation is low.
That's fascinating. It's not just about having people to run with, but feeling understood.
Precisely. Philosophically, you can connect this to communitarian ideas, the notion that our identity is shaped by our communities. And Aristotle, again, called us the social animal. We thrive on connection.
Even Heidegger, right? You mentioned it before.
Yes. His idea of being with Mitsane, our existence is inherently relational. We are always connected to others, even in seemingly solitary activities like running. That shared experience matters.
So practically, how can runners cultivate this if maybe they don't have a local club?
Well, joining a group is great if you can, but virtual clubs and online communities are huge now. Strava, Swift, Facebook groups, they provide real connection.
Even just sharing your runs.
Absolutely. Sharing photos or how a run felt with friends or family, it invites connection. Anything that helps you find and nurture your tribe, whether they're running beside you or cheering you on virtually.
Okay, so autonomy, competence, relatedness, these are the good guys, the foundations of healthy motivation. But the runner's paradox warns us things can go wrong.
They really can. This is where it gets tricky. When those positive drivers get twisted, that's what Ying calls motivation contamination.
Twisted how?
Well, when autonomy turns into compulsion, I must run, even if I'm injured. When competence becomes perfectionism, anything less than a PB is failure. And when relatedness turns into unhealthy comparison, constantly measuring yourself against others online.
Okay, when the good things become toxic.
Exactly. Running loses its soul. And the book shares that really stark example of Rob Young.
The marathon runner.
Yeah. Celebrated for these incredible endurance feats, but his relentless chase for external validation, the fame, the sponsorships, it led down a really dark path of deception and ultimately collapse.
A real cautionary tale.
Mm.
Passion turning toxic.
It truly is. It shows how easily that line can be crossed when external rewards become the main driver.
And science backs this up too, right? The whole idea that external rewards can undermine intrinsic motivation.
Absolutely. It's called the over-justification effect. Rogers did a big review in 2023. Consistently, studies show that when you introduce external rewards, medals, money, praise, for something someone already enjoys doing intrinsically.
Their internal motivation actually drops.
Often, yes. Especially once those rewards are removed, the focus shifts from the love of the activity itself to chasing the reward. It's a fragile kind of motivation.
But wait, are all external motivators bad? What about running for charity, for example? That feels different.
That's a crucial distinction. And Kim and Ainsworth's 2025 research looked at exactly this. They found that pro-social extrinsic motivators running for a cause, for others, can actually strengthen intrinsic drive.
Why is that?
Because it aligns with deeper personal values. It connects back to that Aristotelian idea of eudaimonia flourishing through meaningful action. Running for something bigger than yourself adds another layer of purpose. It's not just about getting, it's about giving.
So the why behind the external factor matters immensely.
It really does. Which brings us to technology. Wearables, apps, leaderboards, they can be great, right? For tracking, for community.
Yeah, they can definitely boost relatedness, connect you with others.
But as Ling's 2025 study points out, they can also easily fuel that unhealthy comparison. Obsessive tracking, that motivation contamination we talked about, it's a double-edged sword. We need to use these tools mindfully.
Which leads us right into this idea of passion itself having two sides.
Exactly. Yang describes passion as that double-edged sword. It can nourish you or it can consume you. And psychology has a great framework for this. Harmonious versus obsessive passion.
Okay, break that down. Harmonious versus obsessive.
Harmonious passion is freely chosen. It fits into your life alongside other things you value. You love running, but you can take a rest day without feeling crippling guilt. It energizes you.
And obsessive.
Obsessive passion feels like an uncontrollable urge. It starts to conflict with other parts of your life, work, family. You feel compelled to run, and if you can't, you feel anxious, guilty, maybe even worthless. It drains you.
That sounds intense. And is there like a biological basis for this difference?
Amazingly, yes. Neuroscience is starting to show us what's happening in the brain. O'Malley's 2024 fMRI study is fascinating here.
What do they find with the brain scans?
They found that runners showing obsessive passion had heightened activity in the dorsal striatum.
Which is?
That's a brain region heavily involved in habit formation, compulsion, even addiction. It's like the must-do-it circuit is overpowering everything else, driving them to train even when injured or sick. The patterns look disturbingly similar to substance-dependent circuits.
Wow, that explains a lot about overtraining and burnout.
It really does. But here's the contrast. Harmonious passion. That lit up the prefrontal cortex.
The brain's CEO, right? Decision-making, emotional regulation.
Exactly. So these runners still love running, they're dedicated, but they have the cognitive control to be flexible, to listen to their bodies, to rest without freaking out. They can regulate their passion.
One enslaves, the other frees.
Beautifully put. And it echoes ancient wisdom like the Stoics. Seneca warned that unbridled passion is indistinguishable from slavery. The truly free runner isn't the fastest, it's the one running without those internal chains. Passion is their servant, not their master.
Such a critical distinction for long-term health and happiness in the sport. Okay, just a reminder, you're listening to the Runner's Paradox podcast. We're exploring Chapter 2 of Ying's book, The Runner's Paradox, expanding on motivation with the latest science and thinking. Find out more and get the ebook at therunnersparadox.com.
So we've covered the core SDT needs, the dangers of contaminated motivation, the duality of passion, but the story doesn't end there. Research is uncovering even more factors.
Like what else influences why we run?
Well, one really interesting area is what Jensen, in a 2025 study, calls environmental meaningfulness.
Environmental meaningfulness. What does that mean?
It's about the emotional connection we form with the places we run. It's not just a backdrop. The environment itself becomes a motivator. How much does that trail, that park, that city route mean to you?
So the feeling of the place matters.
Hugely. Think about the difference between running through a peaceful forest versus a buzzing city street. One might calm you, the other might energize you. That interaction shapes the experience and keeps us coming back.
That makes intuitive sense. Philosophically, does that connect?
Absolutely. Merleau-Ponty's phenomenology talks about how our experience arises through our embodied engagement with place. We don't just perceive the environment, we interact with it and it shapes us. Heidegger's idea of dwelling is similar spaces move through us, affecting mood and identity.
Even neuroscience backs this up.
Yeah. Studies show natural environments can calm the amygdala, the brain's threat detector, and boost the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting relaxation. The place itself changes our physiology.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. What about motivations driven by, well, less positive things?
Yeah.
Like fear.
That's another emerging area, especially post-pandemic. Lai and colleagues in 2024 studied how health anxiety, fear of illness, desire for resilience drove a huge wave of new runners.
People started running to protect themselves.
Exactly. Fear became a powerful initial motivator. But here's the catch, tying back to what Ying emphasizes about sustainability.
Fear isn't a great long-term fuel.
Precisely. It's fragile. It might get you started, but without finding intrinsic joy, competence, or connection along the way, that motivation often fizzles out once the perceived threat level drops. You need something more positive to keep going.
Right. You can't run on fear forever. Okay, what about technology again? But maybe in a more positive, planned way.
This is really exciting. Research by Singh and Patel, and also Hensel and colleagues, in 2025 looks at using urban planning and tech to design psychologically supportive running routes.
What does that even mean? Routes designed for your mind.
Kind of. They started by interviewing tons of runners, figuring out what makes a run feel good: performance, environment, social connection. They quantified this into an experience of running scale.
Okay.
Then they identified different preferences. Some people love scenic routes, quiet, nature-focused. Others prefer urban routes, stimulating, social. They even found personality links. Neurotic types often prefer scenic. Extroverts often prefer urban.
Fascinating. So how do they design the routes?
They use computational systems. They map out environmental factors on city grids, beauty, noise levels, safety, greenery. Then, based on a user's profile or preference, scenic versus urban, the system designs a route optimized not just for distance, but for psychological satisfaction.
Wow. So your running app could guide you to the route that actually boosts your mood or sense of connection?
Exactly. Imagine guiding someone seeking calm to a riverside path, and someone seeking energy through vibrant city squares. It's about personalizing the environment to support the motivation, making the run itself intrinsically more rewarding.
That's a really cool application of psychology and tech, moving beyond just tracking pace.
It really is. It shows a deeper understanding of what truly keeps people running.
So we've covered the psychology, the potential pitfalls, the environment, but when you really strip it all back, especially on those long runs Ying describes so powerfully, what is it that feels so fundamental, so transformative?
Now we get into the deeper waters. This is where philosophy and neuroscience offer some profound insights into that almost spiritual feeling many runners experience.
Like Merleau-Ponty again, the body thinking.
Exactly. On a long run, you often stop feeling like a mind directing a body. You are the running. Thought and movement become one seamless flow. Each step is a conversation between you and the world.
And Sartre's freedom. How does that play out here?
It's in the sheer choice. Mile after mile, you choose to continue. There's no external mandate. Each step is an act of self-creation, finding meaning purely in the continuation of the act itself.
Like Camus's absurd hero, finding joy in the repetition, even if there's no ultimate point.
Precisely. Embracing the journey, the effort for its own sake. Knowing the finish line is arbitrary, but finding profound meaning in the persistent effort. The struggle is the meaning.
And Heidegger, being towards death, that sounds grim.
It sounds grim, but it's really about embracing our finitude. Running, especially long distances, can bring a heightened awareness of being alive, right here, right now. Each breath, each heartbeat feels significant. Self-consciousness fades, and you're just being fully immersed in the world. It's life-affirming.
What about Eastern philosophy? Does anything resonate there?
Oh, definitely. The Taoist concept of wu-wei, effortless action, that state of flow where the run feels like it's running you, effort dissolves into grace, it's that perfect alignment of body, mind, and environment.
And Nietzsche's eternal return. Would you run this run forever?
It's a powerful thought experiment. And often, the deep satisfaction of a long run comes from that feeling of, yes, I would choose this again. Not for a reward, but for the experience itself.
It's amazing how these ancient ideas capture something so visceral about running. And neuroscience is actually starting to explain why the long run feels like this.
It is. It's fascinating. One key factor is rhythm. Our brains love rhythm.
Like the rhythm of our steps.
Exactly. Sustained rhythmic movement activates central pattern generators, CPGs, in our spinal cord and brainstem. They automate the stepping pattern.
So your body goes on autopilot.
In a way, yes, which frees up your conscious mind. You're not thinking left foot, right foot. It just happens. This rhythmic automation is deeply ingrained, maybe even from our persistence hunting ancestors.
And what does that mental freedom lead to?
This is where the default mode network, the DMN, comes in.
Okay, the DMN, what is that exactly?
It's a network of brain regions, medial prefrontal cortex, posterior cingulate cortex that's active when our mind is wandering. Daydreaming, worrying, thinking about ourselves, ruminating about the past or future. It's the brain's idle mode, often filled with self-talk.
So it's busy when we're not focused on a task.
Right. But during sustained rhythmic running, the DMN activity significantly decreases. It quiets down.
Why?
Blood flow and resources shift to the motor and sensory areas needed for running, and attention networks engage with the body and environment. As the DMN quiets, that internal chatter, the worries, the to-do lists fades.
Ah, so that's why long runs can feel meditative or mentally clearing.
That's a huge part of it. You escape the loop of rumination. Thoughts become less sticky. You achieve this state of presence, just the breath, the step, the moment. It's like hitting a mental reset button. The constant self-analysis drops away.
That makes so much sense. It's not just endorphins, it's a shift in brain network activity.
Precisely. And this rhythmic state also creates this feeling of internal coherence, breath, heart rate, movement, all synced up. The brain reads this as safety, as all systems go. It's deeply soothing.
And what about that feeling where time seems to warp on a long run?
Neurochemistry plays a role there. Endocannabinoids, serotonin, they can blunt the brain's timekeeping functions. Hours can feel like minutes. That's the classic flow state.
Which again feels like freedom. Freedom from the clock, from past and future.
Exactly. You're anchored in the now. It connects back to Sartre and Camus creating meaning in the present act, embracing the moment, and Heidegger's being in the world, fully present.
And this ties back to harmonious passion, too.
Yes. When you run from a place of harmonious passion, not compulsion, the long run can facilitate self-transcendence. Think Maslow moving beyond the ego.
Like the runner's high, forgetting yourself.
That's part of it. The ego quiets down. You feel connected to something larger, nature, the universe, whatever it is for you. That feeling of, I forgot I was running, I was running. It's a beautiful loss of self-consciousness.
And finally, the long run as a story.
We're storytelling creatures, right? We understand life through narrative.
Yeah.
And every long run has that arc. The beginning, the middle struggle, the breakthrough, the finish. It's a mini-drama we enact.
A journey of transformation played out over miles.
Exactly. It's practicing authentic existence, as Nietzsche might say. Choosing the challenge, embracing the process, finding meaning in the effort itself. It's primal, it's mental, it's deeply human.
Wow. We've covered so much ground today. From the basic psychological needs driving us, like autonomy and competence,
To the dangers of motivation getting contaminated by external rewards or turning into obsession.
and exploring newer ideas like the power of place, health anxiety, and even how city routes can be designed for our minds.
And then diving deep into that transformative experience of the long run, connecting ancient philosophy with modern neuroscience to understand that feeling of flow, presence, and meaning.
It really paints a complex but fascinating picture of why we run.
It does, and it feels right to circle back to that quote from Ying in The Runner's Paradox. It's such a crucial takeaway.
Which one is that?
If you want to be a healthy runner, mentally and physically, you must know what motivations are effective and, more importantly, sustainable.
Sustainable, that's the key word. And it applies to so much more than just running, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a life lesson.
So, as you head out on your next run, or maybe just reflect on your own motivations in life, here are a few questions to ponder, inspired by today's exploration.
First, why do I really run? Am I running towards joy, connection, competence? Or am I maybe running away from something, using it as an escape?
Second, how can I tell when my passion might be tipping from healthy harmony into unhealthy obsession? What are my personal warning signs?
Third, what is it specifically about the long run that feels transformative for me? Is it the quiet, the challenge, the connection to my body?
Fourth, how do I find that balance between striving for goals, pushing myself, and also giving myself grace, listening to my body, and accepting limitations?
And fifth, what small, intentional changes could I make starting today to better align my running or any pursuit with my deepest values and what truly nourishes me?
Really great questions to sit with.
Indeed. And next time on the Runner's Paradox podcast, we're going to dig into Chapter 3 of the book. We'll explore how our sense of identity, who we think we are, profoundly shapes our journey as runners.
That sounds fascinating. Looking forward to it. Remember, everyone, you can find all the details about the Runner's Paradox book and this series over at therunnersparadox.com. That's where the ebook is available too.
And please subscribe to the Runner's Paradox podcast wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss our exploration of Chapter 3.
And hey, for all you runners listening, maybe take us along on your next run. Could be the perfect time to reflect.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Here's to finding your why, finding your flow, and enjoying the journey one step at a time.